All right, everyone. This is the final recap for Operation Tannenberg of Kings and Kaisers. So it's been a whole week before I could get to this, just because my work schedule and life schedule have been insane. So I had to pull a lot of pieces off of the board here and use them for another in-person game that I had earlier this week with Moose Cow. So yeah, so the board's a little bit messier than it should be. And the Ottoman turn is not fully updated, and neither is the latest Austria-Hungary turn 8. But I did already mark Tuscany as Austria controlled because that's basically what happened. That's the gist of it. So yeah, it was a very much a handily controlled by the Central Powers since the beginning. If we go over to the tracker here, I don't have the tracker, the individual nations here up to date, just because I had to use this for the in-person game. But the victory points are as such here. So the Central Powers blew us out. They got 11 victory points. We had only 2. Let me double check that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, they had 12. Sorry. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, I know how to count. Okay, so 12-2, total blowout. They ended with the Western Front point. Favorable trade was a tie, so neither side got that one. They have the Russian Revolution point. They ended with the most Russian territories within the Russian Civil War, so they ended with the Fate of Russia point. They ended with the Balkans, the Black Sea point, Middle East oil, Pacific colonies, because they still held Qingdao. The Empire point, Belgrade, the city of Belgrade, that is, the city of Sofia, and then the one for 3 minor cities and the one for 5 minor cities. They just barely didn't get the 7 minor cities. And then the Allies held on to the Africa point and held on to the China point. They have one more Chinese territory than the Central Power aligned faction of China. So Rommel did a fantastic job with his role in China. And I just want to thank everybody who was a part of this game. It was a very big game. It was 7 players with Rommel joining in once China got involved. So special thanks to everybody involved. That includes Jinx. That includes Mr. Scrubbert, Moose Cow, of course, myself, Commander Ironsides, Rommel, and the Prussian Gamer, who did a fantastic job as Russia as well. So just want to thank everyone who was a part of this game. It was still a lot of fun, even though we lost horribly. But everybody played well. It's just the opening turn or two with the Central Powers getting so much tech and having good rolls, and it just they had a very sound strategy as well. It just we just couldn't come back all the way from the start. America came in to the Med here and was trying to help save Italy, but the fact that Austria-Hungary was, some of the units are over here that should be in Tuscany. The fact that they plowed into Tuscany, it was very much looking like if we played this game out to the end, Rome would fall, and thereby they would get also the Mediterranean point. So really, this game would have probably ended with them getting 14 victory points, and possibly even 15 if they controlled if they controlled Picardy at the end, or perhaps even took Denmark or Netherlands. They could have got the favorable trade point. So, the game was very much in Central Power's favor, even with the U.S. coming in heavily here. I don't think that the U.S. could have saved the day. And it just took too long for Britain to get going up here in Zone 20 to help out France. France was largely on its own for most of the game. Russia held on pretty well till round 6, I think it was. So that was good. That helped us out a lot. And Africa was just a continuous battlefield. Germany lucked out from the start with their tech getting a military base to put down in German East Africa, and that really made things difficult for us. And the fact that Britain couldn't get going with all the naval losses in the first round or two, they were not able to sufficiently supply Egypt or South Africa as well as they should, and West India, which allowed it was a perfect storm for the Ottomans to basically become a powerhouse, which they did, as you can see here. So China went back and forth a bit. It was pretty much a dead heat. And then right at the end there, Rommel pulled it off and got the extra territory. So that was kind of cool. Japan was cleaning up pretty well here, but still had to do some work to knock out Qingdao, and that would have been quite a difficult one because they have minefields there and barbed wire with trench works, not to mention the preemptive strikes of those 2 artillery and then the 3 infantry defending. So it wouldn't have been easy to knock that out, but I think eventually we would have gotten the Pacific point. So if I had to estimate, Central Powers would have ended this game with 14 or 15 victory points and the Allies with 3. That's what I'm guessing. But the fact that the Japanese landed in the Far East, they could have helped the White Russians get back some of those Far East territories, which maybe would have swung the fate of Russia point in our favor. So that could have been interesting to see happen. Like I said, the U.S. just couldn't get enough going, and it is what it is. You know, we just looked at the board and it was just like, okay, well, what could we take away? What could we prevent? And it was really sort of this dual threat going on between trying to save Rome and the med point here, but also trying to save, prevent the Central Powers from getting the favorable trade and the Western front point. And we just didn't have enough to do both, which we needed to do both in order to have a chance. So we just decided to call it. Everybody's schedules are getting busy, myself included, and we called it at the top of round 8 after Austria-Hungary took their turn. So congratulations to the Central Powers, which were Jinx, Mr. Scrubbert, and Moose Cow. Congrats to them on a very sound victory, and I hope we have another YouTube game of this very soon. I want revenge. But it was fun either way. So take care, everybody. Stay tuned for the next one.